last night, I was somewhat disappointed with the scale of the drawdown, particularly in the short term. And the reason that I was disappointed is because I have visited with you on any number of occasions where you've been very attentive to making sure that we understood what your goals were in Afghanistan, particularly with the now halfway complete surge from a timeline standpoint. And you often talked about needing to make gains in Helmand and Kandahar provinces, as you just talked about, and ultimately making gains in the eastern part of Afghanistan. As I look back at your testimony in June of 2010, just after the president had made his West Point speech, you talked about him making giving two messages in that speech, one of commitment and one of urgency. And I want to quote you. You said the urgency was the July 2011 peace, noting that what happens in July 2011 is a beginning of a process for transition, that it's condition-based and the beginning of a process of responsible drawdown of U.S. forces. You also said in that testimony that as we embark on the process of transition, we should keep in mind the imperative of ensuring that the transition actions we take will be irreversible. We'll get one shot at transition, and we need to get it right. Now, the reason that I'm concerned about what the president said last night is that I know you've made gains in the South. I know you've made some gains in the East, and I know that you have some additional plans for moving more aggressively in the East. And I'm concerned because if we are now talking about pulling down 10,000 or a third of the troops by the end of this year that are part of the surge, and the balance of them by the end of next summer before even the fighting season ends next year, what is the risk of losing those gains that you talked about are reversible but need to be irreversible in your testimony back in June of last year?
Let me just, Vice Chairman, mention that, first of all, transition will begin this summer. It begins next month, in fact, as you know. It will be conducted in 7 different locations, 3 provinces, one of which is Kabul, less one district, and then 4 different municipal districts. As I said, it will begin this summer, and it will include a substantial number of Afghan citizens. It's nearly 25% of the population. Now, the fact is that in each of these locations, transition essentially already has taken place. This has been ongoing over a period of time. Strikingly, Lashkar in Helmand Province, the capital of the municipal district, is going to transition. And this is made possible because over the course of time, indeed, ISAF forces have thinned out, and Afghan forces have very much stood up to the point that there are virtually no ISAF forces policing the streets there, nor are they in Kabul, I might add. Now, we believe very strongly this is certainly the right course to take. It was what we recommended. There will be another tranche in the fall of transition, another in the spring, and another in the fall of next year, and we have an eye on that schedule. Now, the fact is that we will have our surge forces, again, certainly 10,000 will come down by the end of this year. We have flexibility in determining, obviously, which forces and when they come. There are already some that are coming home without replacement, decisions that were already made, and others identified. And then we'll shape this and scope it, again, based on conditions, based on assessments of the mission, and we're constantly refining and updating our campaign plan, and we'll do another round of that, needless to say, with the decision having been made. But basically, we're taking out 33,000 U.S. forces over the course of a 15-month period. It'll run to really I think somewhere in that, the summer is perhaps as late as mid-September or so, something like that. During that time, I might add that there will be some 70,000 additional Afghan forces added based on our projections. There will be about 50,000 additional Afghan National Army and Afghan National Police. There will also be probably some 20,000 or so what are called Afghan Public Protection Force which are the private security contractors coming underneath the control of the Ministry of Interior, a very important action that is just beginning now. And then there will be some other non-standard elements that are supported by various agencies and international elements, such as counter-terrorist pursuit teams under the intelligence service and so forth. It will be critical that we obviously accelerate this as much as we can, something we've always been about doing, so that we can indeed do that handoff as our forces come out of locations, as we really thin out, because we're not just going to come out and hand off, we'll thin out and indeed hand off to Afghan forces. Again, throughout this process, we'll be constantly examining, assessing conditions. We will provide forthright advice. People have always asked me, General, if something happens that is unexpected or that is increases the level of risk beyond what you originally provided, will you provide your forthright advice? In my remaining time, I can assure you that will be the case, and knowing General Allen, who of course is my deputy at Central Command during my time there, I can assure you that he will do the same as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chairman. We'll go regular order, 5-minute round. Senator Rockefeller.